Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. It has been a while since we have been live. So I do want to start off by saying, I'm sorry I haven't been live in so long, but I do miss this and I want to go live more often. I am super excited. I would love to know where you guys are viewing from. So let me know where you're from in the chat box. I'm really excited, especially because today I'm going to talk about, is teaching really complicated? Is it really as complicated as so many experts make it seem? Is it really this thing that just people just can't get figured out? Hello, Tangela. Hello, hello. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I thank you for being live here on today. Today we're talking about, is teaching really complicated? So many experts always make it seem like it's something that is just so overwhelming, so difficult, something that we really just can't obtain. So today I really wanted to talk about that because I'm really on a mission to help you close the gap in education. So let's jump into it today. Don't forget, let me know where you guys are from in the chat box. So, is today really complicated? If this is your first time here, my name is Aja McNair. I am an educational consultant and I'm an experienced curriculum specialist. So, I'm really excited. I help parents and teachers make teaching as simple as possible. And I'm really excited today to really dive into, is teaching really complicated? So many of us see teaching as this thing that has all these pieces or all these different parts. And to be honest, I would be lying if I said it wasn't. I would be lying if I said that teaching wasn't this grand spectrum of a whole bunch of different pieces. But I'm here to tell you today that all these pieces really do fit together. So there's so many different pieces. You have, just let's take reading alone. You have when you actually do read alouds and you're reading to a child directly. You have independent reading time where a child reads by themselves. You may have small group or whole group reading if you're a teacher. If you're homeschooling, you have the time where you're actually teaching reading standards. You have the time that you're doing like modeled reading to children. You also have writing time. You have phonics, where you have decoding, where you have to teach decoding strategies and reading strategies. Then there's math. We hadn't even talked about math. You have math fluency the same way you have reading fluency. I could go on and on and on. And we hadn't even talked about actually planning how to do all of this. So I said all that to say it is complicated. There are a lot of pieces. I get it. There are a lot of pieces. But I'm here to tell you today that if you just trust the process, you'll be able to put all of these puzzle pieces together. The great thing about teaching and the great thing about education is that all these pieces fit together. They all fit together. So when you think about all the things that I just mentioned, all the different pieces. Well, the beauty of it is each one plays a different role. They all have different pieces. A lot like us, like in society, we all have different roles, we all play different parts. But each puzzle piece plays a different role. Each puzzle piece plays a different part. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be complicated. They don't have to be an entire floor of loose puzzle pieces, but there's a way to put all these pieces together and there's a way to make it simple. Each one of these puzzle pieces doesn't take all day to plan. They don't take all day to implement. They don't take years of practice. Of course, the more experience you have, the easier it's going to be. That's with anything like riding a bike. But they all come together. So I have been there. I have been that overwhelmed person. I have been both am actually both overwhelmed roles. I've been the overwhelmed teacher, staying at school till 8, 9 o'clock. I remember the janitors used to literally yell in our hallway, like, we're clocking up to school, because it was just so many pieces and I was spinning my wheel trying to figure out what to do to best serve my children. I've also been that overwhelmed parent, working full time. I was literally not coming home till about like 6, 7 o'clock at night because I was spending all day at school, at my actual job, and then having to come home listening to the teacher say, my daughter was behind, and I'm like, behind, but I'm an educator. How, Sway, how is she behind? And then it was then that I realized all the great things I learned in the classroom and my transformation in the classroom. I had to then find a way to implement that. And that's when I started homeschooling my daughter, working homeschooling, because I still work full time, still, even today. So today, I have the experience of running a classroom that had systematic systems. I found a way to make a lot of my things in the classroom run on what I call autopilot. I found a way to have all of my little tweaks, the things that I used to stay at work till 8, 9 o'clock at night. I found a way to make it simple, systematic, and actually engaging. I found a way to create very engaging lessons that actually saved me a lot of time. And it was through that my I was able to see my students grow. It was through that I was able to see the impact on mastery of standards. And I was like, oh, I think I'm onto something. I think I'm onto something. I took those exact same skills and then implemented them in my daughter, and she was reading before she was 4 years old. And so I was able to see, like, this really works. It works no matter if you're in the classroom or if you are a homeschooling mom or a homeschooling dad. One of my wins, I always like to tell my clients, Angela knows she's on here, to count your wins, those praise report moments. I remember my biggest win as a teacher. I had a classroom, and all of my students, all 100% of them, were all behind grade level. So we call that, EIP, or early intervention plan. And all my students were, most of my fifth grade students were reading on a kindergarten level. I had a few that were on first grade level. Um, but they were all years behind. And I knew they had to pass the state standardized test in order to go to middle school. And I worked my butt off that year without staying late at night like I had the years before. And it was through that year that I started implementing a lot of different systems, planning systems. I started really implementing a lot of learning games because I realized that a lot of the things that we're struggling with were like basic recall facts. They did not know how to read. They were learning the same thing that a typical 5 or 6 year old was learning, and they were 10 years old. And it was through that I learned the power of how to actually close gaps in education. I've learned that when children have learning gaps, it's not it's not that we just have to like kind of keep pounding them, but you have to do it in a systematic way where they're able to truly master certain skills. I talked about my daughter. Now we have a stable homeschooling system. Because I work full time, I actually only teach her 60 minutes per day. That's all. I mean, 60 minutes per week, not per day. That's all I do. And I teach a lot of my clients that are full time, working moms, that's all your child really needs. If you're working full time, you can make a difference with just simply an hour per week. And there's a systematic way of doing this and making that hour truly count. Because time is everything, and time is one of those things that we cannot get back. You can't get your time back. I'm sorry. I don't know what who told you otherwise, but you can't get your time back. And because of that, I'm able to have a work life balance now. I'm a full time working mom. I work full time and come home and teach her, like I said. And I'm so passionate because I get to teach others how to do the same thing. So I'm telling you this because if I can do it, if my clients can do it, you can do it too. Teaching doesn't have to be complicated. So today I want to give you 3 tips on how you can make teaching simple. And these are not the same 3 tips that I go in my workshop. In fact, if you haven't seen my workshop, I'll mention it a little later. But I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest that you watch it because I actually teach you the same three-part framework that I teach my clients and how to actually make teaching simple. So today I'm just going over and giving you three tips. But definitely watch the workshop. It's all about how to make teaching simple. And I really break down the framework and I give you step by step ways of doing that. But today I'm going to give you three tips on how to make teaching simple. And I want to start off with three words: mastery, predictability, and simplicity. I want to say simplicity just because I didn't realize when I made this that simplicity kind of rhymes, predictability, simplicity. All right, you guys know I'm goofy. So let's talk about mastery. More doesn't mean mastery. Oh, it's raining. Excuse the noise. I'm so sorry. It's like raining and a little hard. But more doesn't mean mastery. And what I mean by that, I see so many people give children more work or they're not getting something. Well, let me give them more of that. Well, you guys, if something's not working, what makes you think doing more of it's going to work? I'm not talking about practicing makes perfect. That's something totally different. What I'm saying is if somebody told you to go cook a new recipe in the kitchen, right? And they're like, "Okay, I want you to go cook a new pot pie, let's say. I want you to go cook this chicken pot pie, but you've never cooked before, like never cooked before in your life." And they're like, "Oh, you just throw in the ingredients, pop that thing in the oven." You do it, you throw in the ingredients, you pop it in the oven. Doesn't work. And they're like, "Oh, well, just put more seasoning in it." Okay, you put more seasoning in it. That doesn't work. You put some more seasoning in it. That doesn't work. You put more ingredients in it. That doesn't work. It's not working because you don't know how to cook. So they never told you about, stirring, whipping it in. They never told you what temperature to put the oven. They never told you any of that because more doesn't mean mastery. So giving a child more work or giving a child more things to do doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to master the skills. So I'm here to tell you more work doesn't work. More worksheets don't work. More anything doesn't work. What does work is to really sit back and look at the standards. What is a child actually learning? I'm here to tell you today there's a lot of recall standards that students learn. Um, Children learn a lot of things that have one correct answer. So when I say recall skills, I mean things that you can literally recall off the top of your head. There's only one right answer to something. And when you know that there's only one right answer to something, that is something that can be mastered. They can master what letter is this? A. There's only one right answer to what letter is this. So once you have sat back and said, okay, I know that this is a recall skill, meaning a child simply has to memorize this skill. Once I know that this is a skill that a child has to memorize, then I can give them intentional work to help them memorize whatever that skill is. So let's take the letter A, for example. If I've recognized that the letter A, there's only one right answer. What letter is this? A, one right answer. Then I can give you work where um, I know that you can actually practice with. And I shift my focus from giving you more work to giving you intentional work. I can then start implementing the Everything Aja learning games and I can start making it more fun. I can start shifting my focus on making learning the letter A fun so that you're not caught on all the amount of work or the abundance of work that I'm giving you. All that child has to focus on is having fun learning the letter A. So, tip number one: more doesn't mean mastery. Tip number two: children enjoy predictability. And I'm not going to go in depth with this. I feel like this one is pretty self explanatory. When children are able to predict the schedule, the routines, the workload, if you do the same thing every single day, you'll become reliable. Your schedule will become reliable, learning will become reliable, and then they will be able to succeed. You'll also notice this, and there's a lot of research out there that always talking about the more consistent you are, the decrease you will see with when it comes to behavior. Because children understand what's going to occur, they become more, it becomes safe, it becomes predictable, it becomes something that they know is going to happen. When children feel safe, when learning becomes predictable, their anxiety decreases and then their behavior will align to what you want them to do. So you have a decrease in behavior. The more consistent you are, the less you'll find yourself not remediating, but redirecting behavior. Also, it not only helps you stay consistent, but they'll be able to stay consistent when it comes to actually learning. The more consistent you are with your schedule and your routines, the easier learning will become, because they'll be able to rise to your expectations. They'll know exactly what it is that you want out of them. They'll know what to do. They know how to really meet you where you want them to be. So I go more in depth with this. I know I just gave you two really quick tips, but like I stated earlier, I do have a free workshop all about how to make teaching simple, without the hours of planning and overwhelm. And in that workshop, I go over my 3-part framework, my proven 3-part framework that I have gone through and so many of my clients have gone through to really make teaching simple, give you exactly how to do exactly what I was just talking about and more, lots and lots more. But that link is down below in the description. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out the free workshop. The third tip I want to give you is that planning doesn't have to take hours. We started off talking about the million puzzle pieces that come along with teaching. And I'm here to tell you that planning all these different puzzle pieces when it comes to reading and read alouds and math and fluency, all of those doesn't have to take hours. In fact, all you need are simple systems. If you can simplify your systems and simplify the things that go on behind the scenes, then you'll be able to come up with a routine and organization that will decrease your stress and make planning simple. I want you to be proactive, meaning I want you to think ahead. Know, whatever a child may be learning, if you know the standards, like I was saying earlier, one quick tip: if you know the standards coming up are basic recall skills, meaning there's only one correct answer, that means that you can do a lot of different learning games, or you can do things where you're not actually having to create lessons. You can work smarter and not harder. If you know that you have standards coming up that will take a lot more of your time, meaning that there's skills that require you to actually teach different reading strategies or math strategies, then I want you to be proactive. So with those kind of standards, you're going to have to carve out a little bit more time to teach them, because a child's going to need more of you when it comes to those type of standards. So when you know what's coming up and you're able to be proactive, you're able to then kind of know how to actually shift your focus. So simple basic recall skills. You can do lots of really fun learning games. You can literally implement really quick and effective games and activities you can do. But when it comes to those standards where you actually have to teach strategies, or you have to teach how to break down word problems, that's very difficult for children. I know I did a whole video all about breaking down word problems. Then you have to be able to be proactive. And another thing you can do is to find plug and play lesson plans that will help you decrease the time when it comes to planning. So these really cool and easy recall skills, I'm telling you, plug and play lesson plans could take you 5 minutes to do it. I'm telling you, I've done it plenty of times. And so that's one way to work smarter, not harder, is to have systems in place that allow you to not make shortcuts, but make things easier. You don't have to recreate the wheel for every lesson. One thing I was just talking about, how you can implement really fun learning games for all those basic recall skills. I do have a way where you can just start implementing them today. I have an activity guide. The link for it is down below in the description. But this activity guide gives you 3 activities that you can use for any lesson with any standard. So if you have standards that are basic recall, like I was stating, alphabets, sounds, number recognition, sight words, all of those basic things, addition facts. 5 plus 5 is always going to equal 10. There's only one correct answer to that question. Any of those kind of standards, having a bank of really fun activities that you can pull from is a way to work smarter, not harder. And is a great way to simplify this entire teaching process. So, once again, teaching doesn't have to be complicated. You can work smarter, not harder. And speaking of working smarter, not harder, I want you to imagine having the same bank of lessons that I was just talking about, having all those plug and play lessons, having activities. Imagine having a bank of lessons that encourage for optimal engagement of children, where children like to learn, where they're fun. These are automatically fun activities that you can literally implement in seconds. Imagine having an entire bank of those where you can literally just pull it out and teach. Imagine having a weekly lesson planning system that will save you hours of time planning. I gave you really quick, three really quick tips, really quick, right? But imagine having an entire system. I talked about having systems in place. Imagine having a system in place where you're able to have plug and play lessons, plug and play literally everything, plug and play questions to say during teaching, plug and play assessments, plug and play everything. Imagine just having a system of just banks where you're just able to literally pull out and plug and play. Imagine having schedules, routines, transitions, management tools, no matter if you're homeschooling or in the classroom, allowing you to be stress free. Imagine having simplicity and clarity, knowing what to teach, when to teach, and how to teach it. And imagine being supported along the journey. Well, I want to introduce you to my baby, Teaching by Design. It is a simple step by step plug and play teaching system for creating engaging lessons in minutes or your money back. Teaching by Design is the only self study course. Believe me, I have researched, it's the only one out there like it. But Teaching by Design is the only self study course that helps parents and teachers develop engaging and simple teaching systems, and instructional practices so that you are able to create engaging standard based lessons in little to no time. So, everything that I've talked to you about today, all the little tips about how to make teaching simple, how to make kids actually master their recall skills, how to master those skills that there's only one right answer, how to master all their alphabets, how to master all their sounds, how to master all their letters, how to master all their sight words, all those great things, right? All those great things. Having a system in place where one, planning is easy on you. You have all the tools you need. You literally plug and play everything, right? Having the questions to say during instruction, having systems and schedules in place so that you can be successful, and allowing not only you to grow but your children to grow with you. Like your children are able to master skills while you are making teaching as simple as it possibly can. I want to just go over the transition that Teaching by Design truly offers. Before you might be right there in the before this program. Before Teaching by Design, you frequently feel frustrated and get stuck when it comes to teaching. You procrastinate. Maybe you're one to procrastinate and you never get started teaching. You're always saying, "Oh, I have a child that needs my help." You have a child that is counting on you to make a difference. You have a child that needs you to help them closing the gap. They're behind when it comes to instruction. They're behind when it comes to learning, and they need you. But because you feel so overwhelmed, because you feel lost, you never get started. Maybe you have too many resources to keep track of. You have all these different apps, all these different curriculums to look at, and you are just overwhelmed and you don't start. Maybe you feel like there's never enough time or you're too overwhelmed. And guess what? Maybe you're just you're trying everything you're doing and nothing's getting met. There's none of your goals are actually getting accomplished. Well, that means you are perfect and you're ready to do something different. Today is the day. Today is the day to join Teaching by Design. After Teaching by Design, your life will be completely easy. You're going to have a consistent teaching schedule. Therefore, you're going to have consistently with actually implementing the schedule. Your teaching will become stress free, or as stress free as it possibly be, as it possibly can. I can't erase all those puzzle pieces that come with teaching, but what I can do is show you how to put those puzzle pieces together in a stress free way. You'll have a healthy teach life balance. No matter if you're a teacher or a parent, you have to have time for yourself. So, making teaching as simple as possible allows you to get the time back that you deserve to do what you want to do. You'll know exactly what to teach each day, and how to teach. So you'll know what to teach, when to teach, and how to teach. You'll also finally experience the freedom that comes with being prepared, because you're not sitting there spinning your wheels, starting lessons from scratch, and you'll be able to recreate. I'm giving you everything you need so that you're not having to start any lesson from scratch. You'll have everything you need to start with a plan, and your academic goals will be met. Well, I would love to welcome you into Teaching by Design. Right now, Teaching by Design, the doors are open for it. I'm super excited. I saw one of my clients in the chat box earlier, so she can tell you she has been transformed. She's a full-time homeschooling mom, so her entire um experience has been transformed. In fact, her testimony is on the Teaching by Design page. You can read more about it. The link is down below in the description. And you can always, always, always message me here. Just leave a comment and I'll be more than happy to reply if you have any questions. All you have to do is go to everythingaja.com/join, and you'll see everything about Teaching by Design. You'll also see a little message box in the bottom right hand corner where you can just come on and ask me any questions. I always respond right back to emails. I can't wait to welcome you into the program. In Teaching by Design, it comes with 6 modules to take you through the transformation of how to make teaching simple. We go through the transformation of unblocking your major roadblocks, creating schedules, creating systems, whether it be classroom management, transitions, all of that good stuff, right? We have all of that. And then after that, I really teach you how to break down standards. In fact, I actually one of the really cool things is Teaching by Design comes with 20 worksheets and 20 templates and 5 worksheets, meaning there's a lot of done for you things in the program. So I already have the standards broken down for you. I teach you how to do it and then I give it to you, making this as simple as possible. I want you to be successful in the program. So I have done a lot of the hard lifting for you. We not only go over how to break down standards, but I also give you over 75 really fun learning games that are plug and play learning games that you can literally go and implement immediately. You have lesson plans that are plug and play lesson plans, fill in the blank lesson plans. You have, I mean, y'all, choice boards, differentiated choice boards, how to get children to teach based on their learning style, how children enjoy teaching. Well, I then give you different activities to cater to every single learning style. So you literally can implement, no matter if you're teaching one child or you're teaching 30 children, you have everything you need within Teaching by Design. Teaching by Design is to truly help close the gap in education by allowing you to be as stress-free as possible when it comes to teaching. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Don't forget to check out Teaching by Design at everythingaja.com/join. I want to thank you so much for being here today. I do want to go live. I will be going live again next week. And so if you have any more questions, please make sure you're there. I'll be live Wednesday at 9 o'clock a.m. I am going to really talk about how I have completely packed all 10 years of my teaching experience, all of my experience as a teacher and a curriculum specialist, and what I've done with all my great knowledge and what the next steps are for you. So thanks for coming. Make sure you check out Teaching by Design at everythingaja.com/join. Welcome you. I can't wait to welcome you. I can't wait to welcome you into Teaching by Design. See you later.